share my screen. Okay. Yeah. Great. So here's my slides. Okay, I know it's been a while since the last HTML and CSS, but I will try to ask some questions from the last lesson. And what do you remember? So let's start from the very beginning, and the first person in my list is AJ. Name me 5 semantic tags. I hope you remember what is semantic.
Semantic. Was it like strong?
Yes.
Yeah, strong. Oh crap! What was the one for italics? There was one for italics. Crap.
So
another one is form, I guess. That form is another one. Head. Sorry.
Head.
Footer.
Filter. No.
Footer. Sorry.
Which one?
Footer.
Footer. Yeah. Yes. So header,
yeah,
footer.
Header, footer, a form, strong, and I was. I know. I remember the non-semantic one, EM, which was.
It is semantic. So old one is I, which is not semantic, and EM is semantic.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. The next person is Dea. So what semantic tag do we use to make text italic? This is what we just discussed.
Totally.
EM, right?
Yeah.
EM. Okay. Who was the next? Daniel. To make text bold.
Strong.
Thank you. Mushtaq, which 2 types of elements do we have in Flexbox? Remember, we distinct like 2 main categories of elements. To remember, so we have the main element, like a parent, and how do we call it? And we have children for the parent, and how do we call it? Any ideas?
Oh, sorry, my mic was muted.
Yeah.
So okay, sorry, I forgot like the last part. What was it? So we are doing it. What type of 2 types of elements do we have?
So the parent element, which is which has display flex, we call something, and for children of the parent element, which is flex element, we call in other way.
Like display flex?
Yeah, so this is display flex. This is how you convert into flex element. But we kind of, it's more theoretical question. It's like, how do we call them? So the wrapper, let's say, and children, parent and children, but for for flex elements. Okay, so we have. So the parent is flex container. Remember, we had slide about that. You might not remember because I did it many times, so I remember that slide. But so what about children? How do we call them? So we have flex container for
items.
Sorry?
Flex items.
Yeah, flex items. Yep, thank you. Okay, so next one is how to align elements horizontally. AJ?
I think I remember that.
Horizontally?
Yeah.
Not sure if I remember actually. Mushtaq, take over.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a flex direction.
No. Align items.
Align items.
Oh, text, right.
Oh.
Text align.
No. This is for text, but for Flexbox.
It's align items.
This is vertical. This is the next one.
Also justify items.
Yeah, justify content.
Content.
Yeah.
Content, yeah.
Justify content.
Oh, nice one, Daniel.
Yeah, and align vertical is align items. Okay, how to change
It all depends
direction?
on the flex direction, isn't it?
Sorry?
It all depends on the flex
Yes.
direction.
Yes.
right?
Yeah. But by default, it's
Mm.
justify content and align
Okay.
items.
So,
So how to change the direction for elements? So by default we have row, right?
Yeah.
much like you know, so
Flex direction.
Yeah, I think it's a column that you can change.
Yeah, flex direction column. Yep. How to align only one element with flexbox? Daya? Do you remember?
When you say like a one element, is it the child element, is it?
Yeah. Just one element. So you have a flex container, and inside you have a few elements, and you want to align only one.
Align item and direction.
align self.
Yes, align self
Yeah.
or justify self. Depends on the direction you want to align. Yeah. What flex rep does?
It pushes the. So once the elements have taken up as much space as they can on one row or column, I guess, then it pushes them to the next row.
Yeah, correct. And the last one, what options do you have for justify content?
The
We
left,
have-
the center, and the right.
Yeah.
So how-
Start, center, and
Yeah.
end.
Space
No.
between?
Sorry.
Space between?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you repeat, please?
Space between?
Yes, space between.
Oh yeah.
So flex start, flex end, center, flex space between. Anything else?
Space around.
Space around, and we have one more space something. So space between, space around, and space
Evenly?
evenly. Yep. Thank you. That will be very helpful for your project, and we will talk about your project today. Because you'll build an e-commerce website, and you will work a lot with HTML and CSS this time. Okay, cool. So let's continue. So what is wireframes? So normally wireframes comes from design world, and that this is how we this is one part of the design work. So before they start creating design, they creating wireframes, and they looks like this, just bunch of boxes, and they might look like that or something. It can be done anywhere, but in our for our work, for us as developers, we also use wireframes, which will simplify our work very much, and I'll show you examples today why and how. So yeah, this is like basic wireframes, and you can use wireframe CC, which is just an online tool to create some wireframes if you need. So the question to you, how many times did you refactor your HTML? When you work on something, I'm pretty sure that you did it a lot, because everyone's do. And this is not because you're like a junior developer or something. It's because you're doing that. You start writing your HTML without preparation, and it kind of you don't have enough skills, but because you still need to do that preparation, but this preparation will take less time. But yeah, so this is painful, and if you don't have a clear understanding of how need to structure your layout, you will waste your time of refactoring, rewriting CSS, and yeah, in general, and CSS in general will be a nightmare, because I want to repeat myself again and again that in 99% of cases, normally when you can't position your element in the right place, this is not because of CSS, this is because of your incorrect HTML structure. So for us, this is pretty much the flow how we create layouts. So we get a design, then we frame it, and then we write our HTML. And what you can use a lot of tools like Photoshop, Sketch, Figma. We have some online like Mockflow, Ninja Mock, etc. You can draw. Paper also good. And I've used a lot of many times I used paper just to show and like build layouts. So how to do that? I would here I've created an example. So if you have a layout, you want, before you start writing this HTML, you want to frame each section. So you I use same color for siblings. So I create this component, this like a wrapper, red wrapper, because this is a sibling of this section. And inside my first one, inside my navigation, I have two siblings, and there I have some items. Inside main container, let's say, I have two more sections, the like header, let's say, and the body. And inside this one, I have three cards, so they are siblings. And here I have like an image wrapper and let's say content wrapper or details wrapper. And here I have two more siblings. And yeah, here I just have elements inside. So if you create that kind of wireframe and frame all your elements, it's very easy to create your HTML without refactoring and struggling with HTML and CSS later. So we have let's say I have a few rules for that. And this is, first thing is, if you have an image, you want to wrap it. So every single image should has own wrapper. No other elements inside, just image and the wrapper. The next thing is that group similar elements into one container. So if you have cards, then it should has own container and you will put each card inside. So if you have a similar elements, let's say you have a navigation, then each navigation item you want to put inside, you want to create a wrapper for navigation, and then you would want to put your navigation items inside. Next thing is when you want to group elements and divide them visually. So let's say you want to have a header, section, and footer, and they kind of very independent elements. So you want to move them separately if you want to create a bigger gap between header and section or between section and footer. So you can move all together. So if you want to visually divide in it, you want to create a separate wrapper. And when you change in direction, this is actually very important, because I think that this is a very common trap for people when they create their layouts. So when you create, for example here, when you start creating this section, you have this header, and so it goes from top to bottom, right? We have a header, and then we have three like cards. But here you change in direction of the flow. So you're going not from top to bottom, but from left to right. And you change in this direction. If you put on the same level, without creating separate wrappers for both, it will be very, very hard for you to write CSS and put them, all of these elements, into right positions. So you need to be, when you want to change the direction, create a wrapper. So you'll change the direction easily, just flex direction, and this is it. And you create it like with one line. You don't need to try to use position absolute left or something, or float, like struggle with that a lot. And again, this is very important thing, and this is huge it will give you a huge advantage when you will create your layouts. If you start your any of your work with HTML from like wrapping everything or like creating these frames for each section. And based on that, and because of that, it's very easy to use Emmet. And I hope that you remember what is Emmet. Do you? Anyone?
It's that thing that helps us in the text editor.
Yeah,
Visual
exactly.
code, yeah.
Exactly. So I want to show you actually an example how to create this layout with the approach I'm talking about. So let me just create hold on. So hard when you switch in laptops. I have different keyboard layouts, and it's very hard for me to jump from one to another. Okay, and I create here. And let me just create a file index HTML. And let me just open it. Code open index HTML. Great. Okay, so let's actually create this layout with Emmet. And because everything is framed, we can easily create it. Title. Great. So I want to have a navigation, right? So the first one is navigation. Inside my navigation, I want to have two elements, like logo wrapper. I want to have two elements, right? Two groups. And here I have div logo wrapper. And for now, I'll put some text. So H1 logo. And here I'm creating UL, which is now list. And there I want to have allies multiply 5. And potentially I want to have inside my ally, I want to have an anchor with some text, link, $, right? And this is my top level. This is my navigation basically. So if I hit tab, I have my structure for the navigation. Pretty easy. 1 minute and we are done, right? The next step is we want to create this one. So let's actually create the next one. So let's call it main. Inside my main, again, I have two siblings, like header and let's say body. So again, header. Inside my header, I have one text and menu, right? So let's start with some H2 title plus I have some div with class menu, and there I will have some P with menu. Next step is actually our cards. So let's create ul.cards. There I want to have 3 cards. So I have li with class card, and there I want to have 2 elements inside, right? Image wrapper and details. So let's create 2 more elements. Div image wrapper. There I have an image. And here I have div details. And there I have my header and let's say footer. Header and sorry, again, 2 elements, so 2 parentheses, 2 groups of parentheses, and now we have header, and there we have, I know, h4 and some p tag, h4, sorry, we want to have some text, let's say card title plus p tag with some right, plus p tag, let me just scroll a bit, p tag with some card subtitle. Okay, and there I have another thing which will be our footer, and inside my footer I have maybe 3 elements, right? 3 anchors. So let's say a anchor link $sign multiply 3. I think this is it. So you have main, we create in header, then we have UL and all our elements. So inside we have card, we have the structure for the card, and we multiply it by 3 and hit tab, and we have our layout, right? And if you go here, refresh, you have everything. You just miss an image because we don't have images, but you got the point. And like, it's very easy to fix. Let me just download some kitten. This is the most popular kitten probably in other videos. Second, let me just kitten. Just moving that into our folder. So we have kitten here, and where's our image? Card title, image, right? So we have src kitten. So now we have our images with kitten, right? Save, refresh, and we have 3 cards. As you can see, we spent, I don't know, 5 minutes for this layout, for the HTML, and this is because I have this frame, I framed everything, so for me it's very easy to write my emmet, and I'm just writing the string, hit tab, and I have the whole layout. Okay, yeah, so I just showed you an example. You can read about how to use emmet on their official website, and they actually explaining all some syntax. Yeah, here they have some examples, like if you want to create a div with ID, inside you want to create a div with class logo, and then you have UL with ID navigation, and then you have li with 5 things, 5 allies, sorry, and inside you have and you actually can do after, yeah, okay, and you have anchor inside with your items. Yep. Again, read docs, try, play, it will save your time for developing. Okay, this is a fun game. I would suggest you, because if somebody is planning to become a front-end developer, UI developer, I strongly recommend to play this game to learn like the design patterns and which design is wrong, which is correct. And yeah, I mean, this is like a basics, but you definitely when you get to latest stages, it will become more and more complicated. Yeah, anyway, try to play it. This is fun. Spend like 20 minutes
Which game is it? We don't see any game.
That was a game. Can unsee space. So you basically the task is to find which design is correct.
My video is frozen on the watch demo. Is it frozen or is that what you showed?
Is it no? Is it frozen for everyone?
No, I can see.
Okay, I mean I can stop and start again, of course. Can you see it now?
Yeah, now I can see it.
Yeah, so basically you click, compare, next, select which one is correct, and just do this. Okay, let's move further. So we want to talk about transform, and I have a few examples which I completely forgot to open. Give me a second. Pum, 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 pum. This one. And I probably want to show you examples. Pum, 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 pum. Okay. Give me a second. Terminal. And here we want to open the index. Okay, yeah, transform, beautiful. We'll go back to our this page to style it together, but for now, let's continue with our code here. So first thing is transform, and transform gives you ability to kind of manipulate the shape of your element. And the most popular properties we have values. Sorry, we have rotate, we have translate, and scale. So rotate, it just rotates. Translate means that you can move it top, left, or in any direction. And scale means that you can make it bigger or smaller. So let me show you an example. What I've done, let me actually here. I hope that everyone's familiar already with DevTools. So I can just play with some stylings here. So when you working and debugging your HTML and you want to mock the hover state, so you can click here, hover, and tick hover, and now you will have all stylings that you have in your code, because I have it here and everything is commented out, so you can see that everything is crossed but it's still there. So I can show you that we can basically, by toggling my stylings, we can apply these styles, right? So if I put this and unhover, so when I hover, I'm rotating my element, which is super great. So the next thing that you can rotate only on X, which is not very fun because it kind of squeezing, but it actually, because you can see only 2 dimensions, you can't see the third dimension. So for you it's squeezed, but it's actually kind of lean back. So it's hard to show you, but you might use it for flipping or something. Okay, so the next thing is translate, right? So you can move your element. So when you hover, it will slide or something. So you can play with it as well. Next thing is that you can scale, and actually we don't have. I scale. I'm passing 2 params because you can separately define percentage of scale for horizontal and vertical. But in our case, I can specify transform transform, translate, and you can have, sorry, not translate, scale. Whoa, what happened? Scale, and like 1.1 is 10%. So I will increase, right, it's for hover. Sorry, my bad. Let me uncomment or just copy and put this one and uncomment, right? So when I hover, I will scale for 10% both sides. As you can see, it becomes bigger. And the same, it can become smaller, so 90% of original size. And you might see that it's actually kind of how buttons behaves, right? So when you hover on the button, or when you hover on the button, you just change in the color. But when you click on the button, you will manipulate it. And actually, let's do that. So on hover, I actually want to change the color, background color, to, I don't know, violet. And transform, this is a div. So I'm not sure that active will work, but let me try. And the transform item active. That might not work, but let's see. So when I hover, yeah, it is working, right? So I kind of, when I hover, this is my button. When I click, it just imitate the effect that I'm actually pressing. And if I release, it comes back. Kind of nice effect. You can play with it as well. Let me just remove my violet from here. Okay. Yeah, so these are main ways how you can manipulate with transform. And we have some rotate 3D, rotate Z, translate, crazy stuff. Skew, did I bring skew for you? No. Yeah, but you can play with all of these stuff. I don't use it like on daily basis because it's not my work, and we don't do like some crazy animations with CSS. But normally what you will use if you creating layouts is just translate, scale, and potentially rotate. That is why we highlight it on the very beginning. So as a source, I have two links for you. So the first one is kind of examples. So yeah, basically you can navigate. So they have some explanations, like with everything, but I actually want to show you, see that they have some stylings, some examples. So you can, technically with CSS, you can create some crazy stuff. And it looks like it is some engine, graphic engine, but it's just CSS. Ooh, look at this, right? Beautiful CSS. Just crazy. I can imagine how much time somebody spent on that. And this one, look at this. It's just crazy. Have you ever seen the CV the guy created as a game? Mario game, potentially Mario game. Let me just find, is it the right one? Yeah, this one. I just want to show you. This is just crazy. This is everything built with CSS. So I'm just navigating with my arrows. And level 2 and skills. Right? This is just crazy. Can you imagine how much effort he spent on that? So I'm just holding arrow down. But yeah, working experience. This is just crazy. Yeah, so people just, sometimes they go mad with CSS, but it is possible with CSS. So we need to know that CSS nowadays is very powerful. Like a few years ago, all of that can be done only with JavaScript. But now CSS is super powerful. So pay attention to this one. Great.
Sorry, I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
Actually, on that point, as far as speed goes, in that case, is it better to actually do something in JavaScript that you can do in CSS, or do it in CSS? Like for some certain things that they have done in that. Like what would be quicker to load the website, for example?
Yeah, this is actually a good question. So that is, we prefer to use CSS because what's going on actually, that if you do some stylings with JavaScript, your browser will take your JavaScript, execute it, generate CSS, and will apply. So you can skip all of that just because you're already providing CSS.
Ah, nice one. So yeah, it's better to do CSS where possible than compared to JavaScript.
Exactly.
Nice one.
And with JavaScript, you mix in two languages. You mix in CSS with JavaScript, which is wrong, like in general. You don't want to mix.
Right.
You want to have like a separation of concern. That CSS is for CSS, JavaScript for JavaScript.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so next thing is transition. Transition is another fun thing. Let's go to transition. Here, with transition, it's basically a bunch of timing functions. And kind of rules for how you want to apply some style changes to your element. So you have transition property, transition duration, timing function, and delay. And I'll show you in a second what that means. So timing functions, to be honest, again, you need to play with all these numbers and like to understand what's going on. But we have a few like is, linear, is in, is out, is in, out, step start, step end. So I think it starts slower. Linear means that the speed is constant. Is in, it just starts slower and then the constant speed. Is out, it starts with constant speed and then slows down in the end. Is in and out, so it's slow down on beginning and slow down in the end. Step start is just jumping, and I'll show you all these examples in a second. So yeah, the example of the animation is like transition, height. You can avoid any of these, probably not the timing, but you can avoid this parameter. So if you write height, that means that transition will be applicable only for height. But if you avoid this and remove this this property or value, that means that it will be applicable. This transition will apply to every single change: color, height, position, whatever, anything. So let me actually show you an example, not this one. So transition, almost. So I have a function that I want to change height, and that should take half a second. The function should be is, and I want to wait half a second before I will apply my transition. And on hover, so let me actually probably comment it back. So I want to change height, I want to rotate, and I want to change the background, right? So if I go without transition, it just do this, right? not very nice. If I uncomment my line, so I will apply my transition only for height. So we will have, you can see that it jumps to the next, it's rotate immediately, but height changing smoothly. But if I avoid this height and just uncomment this one, so I don't want to have even delay, just half a second and ease function, refresh, so we have a nice transition, right? So you can completely change the whole like kind of shape, position, color, anything in your element. And again, you can wait like 3 seconds. That will be silly, but it's like some, you know, probably can build some Easter egg on your website, because if you hover, nothing is happening, and then after 3 seconds you apply this. So you can put like 30 seconds pause, right? So if somebody knows, he will do that. Yeah, so this is transition. And I have a bunch of functions. I have it here, and I'll show you. So the next step is keyframes, actually. So keyframes is basically the first step to functions in JavaScript, in CSS, sorry. Gosh, JavaScript. So keyframes means that you creating a function with some set of rules that you want to apply to your element on particular stage. So the example is that you have a keyframes. This is a declaration, like a function in JavaScript. This is a keyframes, and here you have the name of your keyframe, of your animation, and you can write this in 2 ways. So you can have from to, so 0 to 100. You can do 0 from 100, but with percentages you can have 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, any step. You can have 0 and 35 and 70 and 100. So you can have a lot of steps between to make it smoother or just different animation. And like, yeah, just do different things. Here we have some examples. Ooh. Yeah, you can just build, basically this is a builder, and that will export you some code. So you can play with it and see what's going on. So these points, they try to illustrate that you have a beginning and the end, and you can set multiple points between, right? Okay, so these are all values that you can set. So this is the default one, animation name, then animation duration, timing function, delay, interaction count, direction, fill mode, play state. So animation name is your keyframe basically name, your function name, this one that you have here. Next one, duration, is how much time you want to spend on this animation, like 5 seconds, and then you can have like 10% means the half a second, then you have like a 50% that will be like 2.5 seconds, etc. So this is just your like duration. Timing function, again, this is in, etc. The one that we discussed. Delay, just a delay. Iteration count, so you can do it in like set infinite, and that will for example for bouncing, so when you hover it will bounce forever, or do anything else like without non-stop. Or you can set like forwards, so it will start from one position and go to another and stay in the end where it will get to the last on the last second, on the last moment of the execution. Direction, so you can forwards and backwards. And fill mode, to be honest, I don't remember. I've never used it, so I don't remember what is that. Let me actually Google for that, because literally I've never seen that somebody used it, or So fill mode probably says how the animation applies styles on its target before, all right, after its execution. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so fill mode, this one is backwards and forwards. So what is wait a second. Now I'm start be confused. So direction, animation direction, that should be it. Direction. Is it always also alternate? Ooh. Reverse, okay, yeah. Pretty much the same. It's about, so yeah, this is direction, so should it start from the end and move to the beginning, or on other way? So yeah, but for this fill mode, it will apply your your stylings after or before, which is not very clear actually. But again, you probably never use it, because I've never seen it in real life. So it's very, very specific thing. And sorry, so the next thing is Playstate. So you can play and pause. So you can actually pause the animation on some event. An example is, this is the full one, but you don't need to keep the order, or you don't need to write all of them. Again, you can avoid some. And normally you have function name, your keyframes name, you've set duration, and how many iterations you want to have. Is it forwards or infinite, or like 5 iterations, etc. So let me actually show you. Sorry, where's my? So we have a keyframes. I have an element, and I created a move around, and I'm setting some transition. So I want to basically move my circle like from to top, then to right, then to bottom, then to left, and back to top. And let me show you. So here I can specify each, right? Move around 2 seconds, steps, like 20 steps, and wait 4 seconds. Or I can combine them into one, and I have move around 5 seconds is in 1 second. Let's say I want to have 2 iterations. I don't want to have reverse, because I don't care. I don't need to this and this. So basically 5 seconds, 1 second wait, 2 iterations. Let's try. So if I hover, as you can see, it should do just 2 iterations and jump to the initial position. Yeah, as you can see, just 2 iterations. I can set infinite, and that will spin forever. What did I? Right, wrong one. Infinite. Refresh. As you can see, it will move forever. And you can have forwards. Oh yeah, forwards will not help because we have the same start and end. Yeah, it doesn't matter in this one. Okay. Also, when I refresh, so now it started moving, and I want to add actually pause state. So let me actually do that. So we have a pause. So when I hover, it should pause. So it's spinning, right? And then if I hover, it stop. If I remove my mouse, it continue. Hover, stop, right? Stop, stop. Yeah. So this is keyframes, and again, you can change anything with this. You can change colors. You can create a rainbow. You can do whatever you want. Create a change in shapes, etc. So just go wild. Okay, so we have slide, for example. Yeah, right. I created slide for to show you difference between timing functions. This is very fun. I like this one. This is just mad. So let me just put it back. So I have my slide. So I'm just sliding from start to the end. And I want to add some sliding, so infinite. So animation slide 4 seconds and infinite. So now they are moving all together, right? The default is not is in, is. Refresh. As you can see, this is for, I'm applying the is for the first one, and they still moving together because it's the default one is. So is in for the second track. As you can see, it's starting very slowly and then speed up, right? Is out will slow down in the end, right? Next one is in out. I kind of see that it's very similar as is, right? You see that it moves together as well. Or I just, yeah, it moves together. Next one is linear, probably linear. It's just a constant speed. Next one, step end, so it will jump to the end and to the beginning, and to the end, to the beginning. We can have multiple steps, so we can add 5 steps until it gets to the end, right? We can have 10 steps, and the last one should be the end one. Yep. And we have some crazy function for that, and you can actually play with numbers. I'll show you the link where you can play with this qubit Bezier, which you can just build like a logarithm for that, and some crazy values and crazy function for that. So anyway, I have a question for you. Which one do you think comes first to the end? Finish the cycle. Anyone? Which one do the full cycle first?
Is it the steps end of it?
Steps end.
Yeah.
Any other suggestions? Is everyone agree on steps end? That was a good answer.
Maybe that QB
This one.
one right at the bottom.
Okay. Any other ideas? Come on, it just... Who comes first? I have a good answer. You will like it.
So it depends who started the first.
They all start first, together. They all start together.
Oh.
Okay. The answer is that they have the same timing, 4 seconds. So they do the same cycle in the same time. And you can see how different it looks on the screen just because of the timing function. And this is how you, as a developer, create some specific effect and feeling for your users. And this is like a visual trick. So sometimes, that was funny actually, I heard this story like recently, 3 days ago or something, that somebody was complaining that the application on mobile, when they load in their application, was very slow, and they got like a email from their client that, hey, your application on mobile is very slow, it's loading very slow. And you know the fix for that? The developer just increased the speed of spinner while it's loading, and after a week they got a letter that, thank you for the fix, now it's much faster. This is how it works, how the human brain works. And sometimes, let's say you have a loader which takes 10 seconds, and if you create a loader that when you go to the somebody comes to your website, they load and see that you moving, like if you have 10 seconds, every second you move to 10%. So you'll see this, I'll actually show you. This is fun. I like such things. Let me just comment all of that, because you can destroy your eyes with this stuff. Okay, yeah, I'll create just for the first one. I want to create a separate function for this one. So keyframes, and 0%, probably 0 and 100, because we just have 0, 100. We want to have the same speed in the whole same. Let me choose because yeah, left, right, beautiful. So left 0, left, left, no, 100%. That's actually, we need to calc 100% minus, I don't know, what is the width? Width 50 pixels, probably 50 pixels. And now I want to have my function here, animation, test, 10 seconds, forwards. So imagine that this is a loader, right? Right, do I have a function for that? Timing function. Let's do it again. So you just go and slowing down in the end, right? Let's say we will set some function is in refresh, right? It is very slow, and you think, oh my god, how long I should wait for that, right? And like, it becomes annoying. And just because you change the positioning here, so you'll add another step of left. So on actually, let's say 15%, you have left calc, because here we need to be accurate, and put 90%, and we still have the same 10 seconds, right? So nothing changed. In the end, we still have 10 seconds. And we will remove our is in, refresh, and you think, okay, this is actually fast, right? And you kind of already expecting, okay, I will wait, because imagine that this is 60 seconds, or I don't know, 30 seconds. And if you do this, sorry?
Yeah, I think it makes sense now.
So imagine if like 98, even crazy, go wild. Like, ooh, it's loading fast. And like, okay, I will wait this tiny bit, right? But imagine that you don't have this gap. And you just do this. Like, god damn it. Right? And again, in the end of the day, same 10 seconds. But it feels like it takes forever. Look at this. Oh my gosh. You probably will leave this website by this moment. But because of that, I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. And like, okay, I'll wait. Okay, it's actually loading. Yeah, that's fine. I'll wait, right? And this is a trick. You need, as a UI developer, you need to think about such things, like how the animation of your sidebar works. When you click sidebar, is it slides very smoothly or slower than it should expect? So you want to, when you click, it should shows up very quickly, right? So like you creating this kind of very snappy effect. So when I click open the menu, it will open immediately, like shoo, like smooth, quick, etc. When you close, it can be slower on the very beginning because you want to keep that and show the animation, nice smooth animation. And you need to, again, you need to play with such things when you polishing your website. Of course, when you just build in a like MVP, let's say, your basic website, you don't think about such things. But when you start polishing it, this is very important from user experience, because it might create a huge difference for you and for your users. So keep that in mind. Okay. Questions about that one? No?
In the coming project, are we going to use the animation?
It's up to you. We don't require it. If you have enough time and you think I want to play, why not? I think like any extras will be benefited just for you. So we're not requiring such things. Okay. So here, yeah, I have a few slides like explaining what each thing means. Fill mode, direction, play. And here you have some tools, how to create actually. They have some very simple combination, like so basically here you're creating these timing functions. So it starts very slowly, then it moves, then it's slowing down, etc. And we have another link, which is this one. I think they have already a bunch of animations. Yes, try me. So you have already something that you can test, and basically you can copy paste their code because they have code here. You don't need to build it. You can see they have some nice animation that will save your time for sure, right? You can play with it all day, but anyway, just know that it is possible. It is here, so you can use it. So let's talk about parallax. So parallax is a big thing actually, because partially it's been realized in CSS, but you still, if you want to have a very complex parallax effect, you still need to use JavaScript, because CSS just is not able to do that. So I want to show you the parallax from from W3 School. So here, this is a very basic one. So parallax means that you have a static image. When you're scrolling, your content is moving, but the image is staying. Then you have another image and another, and you have some effects, right? Crazy effects. It looks nice. But if you want to move like your image slightly slower, I actually can show you my Git repository. GitHub. I will show you my very, very old project. That might be, no, probably not that one. This one might be this one. Yeah, this one. So here I use JavaScript for parallax because I was building, as you can see, the image is moving but much slower than the whole content, right? So you're actually creating like that kind of effect. And here the same with this table and coffee. So when you're scrolling, you can see that it's kind of moving. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, so that kind of effect you can achieve only with JavaScript. But like if you want to build a simple one, like I just showed you here, it's achievable with CSS. And to do that, it's very, very simple. All you need to do is to have, let me show you, background attachment. We have scroll, fixed, and local. So fixed is actually the one that creates this parallax effect. So scroll means that the content will move and the image will stay like this, right? So you can just, it's basically scrollable content inside. Fixed, which is the next one. So when you move the DOM, image is staying like static, but everything is moving, the whole page is moving. And the local is just a regular one. This is the default value, right? So you can use your background attachment fixed to create that kind of effect. You probably can use better images, etc., but you got the point. It's very simple thing. Okay. Any questions on that one? Because this is very, very simple. There is nothing to play with. No? Okay. Filters. Welcome to Instagram. So CSS brought filters, and now we can go wild with them. Let me actually open, not this one, sorry, filters. I want to show you. This one. Right, I probably need to jump here still. So you can blur. I've created just for hover, but I want to blur my image. So if I hover, I'm blurring my image, right? Or you can do opposite. You can blur, and on hover you can unblur. And you can, this is how much you want to blur. You can 1 pixel, it's less blurry, just a bit blurry. But if you put like, I don't know, 30 pixels, you can probably see a cat there now, because it's super blurry. But again, you can that might be very good, because by default you can have blur 30 pixels, and on hover you want to unblur, so it's blurry, but when you hover you can actually see it, right? So that might be nice. The next thing is that you can change brightness with filter. So again, on my hover, 0.2 means that 20% of the current brightness, right? Or just make it brighter, like 200%. And you can combine all of them. You can change brightness, contrast, etc. All of them. I'll show you. Let's go through each. So contrast, changing just contrast. You can drop shadow, right? Again, you can play with these numbers. You can make it gray you can make it grayish with not 100%, but like 40%. And you can change the, this is a hue, so shift, color shift, right? Just shifting colors. You can invert, which is like a old, you probably remember that. I don't even know the word for this one. You can change opacity, which is pretty easy, right? You see that the text is still visible, but the image changing the opacity. You can have serrate, which will add more colors, more punchy, right? And sepia, which is retro doggy. Yep. And again, you can write them in a line, so you can have sepia plus brightness plus blurry. You're just concatenating them in one line, right? Something like that. Maybe we don't want to have two, but we can make like 10% brighter. Yeah, or something. Or maybe in opposite, 0.5, right? Maybe not 5, but 7, slightly darker. And actually, again, that can be a default value. Filter. And when you hover, you have filter. Is it none? Maybe none. I don't remember, but right? Yeah. So you have this kind of blurry, dark sepia filter, and when you hover, you have your dog. You can actually create a lot of nice effects with CSS without any libraries, any JavaScript, anything, just pure CSS, which is great. Because again, a few years ago you couldn't do that with CSS. Let me just undo my changes. Great. Do you have any questions on this one? No? So the last thing that from new things for today, we have text gradient. Have you ever seen on some websites that the text has like a different colors in one word? Like you have like a rainbow text, not white, not black, not blue, or whatever, but like a rainbow. And here's a trick how to do that. It's kind of a trick. So I want to show it to you because I think that might be helpful again when you're playing with your stylings. So we have a background. As you can see, this is just a gradient, linear gradient. I have some from greenish to blue. And I have my blue text. So to basically to inherit these colors to the text, I'm not actually inheriting. What I'm doing is I'm saying that I want to make my background clip by text. So my background will be only behind the text. So if I refresh, I can't see my background because it's behind my text. We don't have it here. So now all I need to do to see the background is to set color to transparent, right? So it's not actually, the text is not becoming like colorful. It's just transparent, but the background image create that effect, that illusion that the text has that gradient. Again, it's not a text, it's just a background, but because the background clipped by text, that is why you have that effect. Does it make sense? Again, it's not crazy. It's just 2 lines of CSS. But I think that might be helpful and nice to have sometimes. Okay. So the next thing that I want to talk is basically I want to finish this website. This one. Let me just my website here. I want to show you that we can quickly build this one. So we built HTML in a few minutes, right? And now we want to go crazy and style it in a few more minutes. And you will see how easy, and actually I want to do it together, so you can help me to do this. So let me just move it here. We have some questions. Okay, yeah, so let's start styling. I will close this one. We have our kitten. So let's start from the header, from the navigation. First of all, I want to create in some CSS file, index CSS, right? And here I want to add my CSS, index CSS, and on the very beginning I want to select all elements and set box sizing border box. Why do we do that? Anyone?
So that each element only takes up their actual space. It doesn't create any space on the outside of the element.
Yeah, so basically the padding will be included into the size of the element.
Yeah, not on the outside.
Yeah, it will not create extra, it will not take extra space because of the padding. Yeah. Okay, so let's start with our navigation, right? So split left. Great. So here is our navigation. We have 2 sections, right? So for navigation, we want to have background color, and we want to, let me just hover and set some, you know, something similar to what we have there. Okay, let me refresh. Beautiful. This is what we, oh, right. So see that we have this margin around. This is because we forgot about our normalizer.
Vasile, could we also just do like a manual reset where globally we can just set the margin and
yeah, sure,
to 0? All right.
Yeah, we can have like a body and margin 0, but that means that we will reset only margin for body.
Yeah.
Not fonts, nothing. That is why I prefer like to use this one.
The normalizer.
Yeah. Copy link address, and before our this one I want to use normalize. Yeah, that should work now. Refresh. Beautiful. We still have the margin because this one has margin. That is why it's pushing the element. But we'll fix it, and we have our links here. Beautiful. So first of all, I want to put these 2 in a row, right? So for probably I want to change the color to white for our text. We still want to change anchors because anchors has specific stylings, color. So we want to have like nav list. Let me just apply anchor color. Refresh. Yeah. So how to put these 2 elements into one row?
In the nav, we can display the nav as flex.
Yep. Done. Great. So now we want to push them left and right. So what do I need to set?
On the actual Yeah.
What do I need to do?
You can do space around for this one because on the wireframe there was padding on both sides.
Yeah, yeah, why
Mhm.
not? Let's do that. We lost someone, I think. We lost quite a few people. Oh no, wait a sec. AJ, where's AJ? Okay. Yeah, I mean, too much, right?
Yeah. So I guess
So
you
what
can just use.
what I would suggest is to create like a container. So this is a like common practice because screen can be 35 inch, right, or 50 inch or huge resolution. You don't want to turn your head left and right, so you will create like max width like 1024 pixels. But on a small screen, you want to have width 90% because you want to have some, on a mobile, you want to have tiny gaps left and right. And now you set like a margin 0 on top and auto left and right. And here for this one, justify content should be space between. So now you created this extra gap with this one, left and right, and now you're just pushing them onto sides. Great. We definitely need a wrapper for that one. Okay. Yeah, that means that we need a wrapper, which is not very bad. I haven't thought about that, but normally what we have is like container. And you just reuse this class container everywhere you need it. So basically what you're doing is creating like a generic container and putting this there. So now you have it.
Yeah, okay.
If I have a 27-inch screen and it is huge. But if you can see that on a small screen, we still have that nice gap left and right. If I hover, you can see that we have margin.
Yeah.
So that looks nice. Okay, and the next thing that, wait a second, why it's not on the line?
I think display flex was on the nav as well.
Correct. Now it doesn't work. So we need to move it there. Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next step, we want to move this into one line, right? So for our navigation list, we're doing the same display flex. Ooh, give me a second, sorry. Display flex. Have them on the line.
Yeah, but Vasil, why would we choose the display flex instead of the display inline for that?
Because you can apply your display space between, justify content space between, align items, etc. That is why.
Cool. All right, cool.
If you don't set display flex, then you can't use these align items. So the problem, because this is UL, we need to remove default padding, 0, margin, 0. And we want to remove this list style, these dots.
Yeah, so list style none.
None, yeah. Exactly. Okay, looks better. Not great, but better. So now you can see that we have them, the height is this one, right? So our UL, sorry, not this one, this one. The height takes the full, basically you have the full height. Right, but for this one we might set align items, align item center. Yeah, why not? center, refresh. We have them in the middle. We still want to remove the margin here for logo. So for our navigation, which one? We have, we have margin 0. Something like that. We probably want to have actually margin on our navigation. Margin. Maybe 1M. Top and bottom, left and right, 0. Not margin, sorry. Padding. Padding. Yeah. Okay. Now we want to spread these elements. So first of all, text decoration, because we want to remove these underlines.
Underline, yeah.
Refresh, beautiful. And now I want to have some spacing. So each li probably should have some margin, say 0 on top and bottom and 0.5 left and right. Refresh, we have something. Yep, looks good. Right, so now we're hovering, we have it. The only problem that the last one also has the margin. Give me a second. So I want to, from the last child, I want to remove the margin right. Yep. Okay. Looks good for me. Let me just double check with the, yeah, that's fine. Okay. So now this section. First of all, I want to change the background color for my body to make it grayish, so we can see the difference. Background color and something like that. Okay, so now we can style our cards and we can style this section. So next step is our main.
Just a quick one, Wesley.
Yeah.
On the nav one, when the container is applied with the flex box, the display flex, is there any other property that we can just apply to the children's, like the links, just to display them in line or horizontally,
Where, sorry?
These logo and the links.
Yeah.
You just first applied, initially you applied the display flags for the whole lot, for the container.
Yeah.
And then we had the issue of link 1 and 2 and 5. They were like a, column rather than row.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, you applied the display flags to them.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, is there any property for display flags for the container, which is applied to the children's, like that link 1 up to 5,
so
without?
Yeah. Now I got you. The whole idea is that we have just parent-child relationship. We don't have grandparent and grandchild relationship. So because for container, child is logo and another child is nav list, but your li is already grandchildren, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
So there is no relationship between grandparent and grandchildren. Only parent and child.
I see.
Yeah, that is why every time you want to change something, like you create display flags, you add display flags for the container where you want to apply it.
And it only affects itself and the children.
Yeah,
that's
direct children. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
So the next step is main header. So let me add actually class. I probably forgot to do that. Header, or maybe main header. So main header, here I want to set, again, display flags, right, to put them in one line. What did I miss? Oh, I forgot to save my HTML. Yeah, in one line. But I still want to keep this container. So I don't actually need to specify anything else, because you might want to specify something in the future, but container already have display flags and the actual edges, like the everything we need. Same we want to do with cards. We want to add container, save, refresh. If not the image, I think everything looks good. We will fix it with our images. So with cards, as usual, what we want to have is list style none, padding 0, margin 0. Refresh. Great. And now we want to style one card. And inside one card, I want to set the max width for my card, which will be 300 pixels. Or maybe, so if the top container, if the whole container has 124 divided by 3, it's 340, so 320. Let's say width 320 pixels. And now for my image wrapper image, I probably need this one as well to be more specific. Ooh. We want to set width 100%, right? I have these tiny kittens. Okay, something, right, for cards I set margin. I need to remove this. Now we have our kitten cards. Pretty easy. And yeah, basically we already have everything we need. Right, so if you go to our stylings, yeah, we need to add some background. We can add to our card, we can have background color white to make our cards. Then we can add some padding, as you can see here, so we can add for the details. Card details, padding maybe 1M. Let's refresh. Yep, looks not bad. What can we change next? Oh yeah, right, we want to have a box shadow, so let me just material box shadow. You can play with numbers, but I'm lazy. I'll use from here material, so it's this one. Let me just put not details, the whole card. Refresh. Yep, our cards. Maybe if you take the darker image, you might see the better contrast. Let me actually find something. Make sure. Good nature, right? Let me have something. Maybe something darker like that. And now, if I second and I will change my kitten to landscape. refresh. Yep. We have too much space here. This is because why, right? So we can set object fit because the container, you can see that the container is slightly taller than my image. And to fix it is height 100%, object fit, color, and for my wrapper I want to set height then. Height, I will 50 pixels. Refresh, maybe 200 pixels, 250. Refresh, something like that, right? And you basically have the layout. So again, because we create the correct structure for our HTML, it's very easy for you to write CSS. You can see that you don't have a lot of CSS. Everything is about colors, mostly about colors. We have a few display flags, and this is it. And you can quickly build it. So it's not that painful. And that is why I suggest you, like, when you start creating, when you have a design, even on paper, just drop boxes. Like how you want to split everything into boxes, and then you start writing your HTML, and you will see how much easier it will be to create your layouts and style it then. Yeah.
Is it okay if I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
In initially part of the lecture, you talked about the wireframe. I missed that part. So what was the wireframe?
So wireframe is basically this, right? For designers, but for us is this. So you got a design from designer, and then you just split in everything into boxes. So this is basically wireframing from developer perspective, not from designer perspective.
So creating the divs within the divs, and you can color them, and you can see your positions of your elements where they would be.
This one has been done in Photoshop. All you need to, you're not writing any HTML before you draw all these boxes.
Okay.
So you just basically open any, I don't know, Painter or whatever, anything. Open yours, take a screenshot of the design and just just select in boxes.
Yeah, much like if you remember the HTML exercise we had. So the wireframe would be what the designer gives us in Figma, and then we kind of just follow that.
Yeah. So basically,
cool.
This is your project actually. Where's AJ? Because I want to talk about your project. Give me a second.
So the wireframe is basically initial sketch.
From designer perspective,
exactly.
Yes. Yeah, this one. But from developer's perspective, is like go in opposite direction. So here is your project for this module. We have all requirements. I'll deploy all requirements, but you have a carousel on the main page. We don't use any libraries, no Bootstrap, nothing, because you need to learn how to build your carousel with JavaScript. We actually have on our channel, we have a video how to build your own carousel, so you can watch it.
So your own what?
On our channel, YouTube channel. Let me just channel. We have playlists, projects easy, carousel with sliding effect. And here I'm actually explaining how to build the carousel, so let me just put it to the end. So when you click, This is still the error, the issue, but if you fix it, you have a nice sliding carousel. So yeah, you can watch it. We have a carousel. Then on the shop page, we have filters, we have pagination, so you have multiple pages. So if you when you have like 20 products, you dividing them by 6 and creating pages, and when you click on page, you jump into that to the next group of products. You have filters by color, by price range, by category, and we have, I'm just looking what is it. Yeah, right. So this one, it just shows you that it can be collapsed or open. It's the same view, but just collapse and open. This is product details page where you're creating this again mini carousel. Here you can select the color, add to basket, details. You can open details to see the details. You can click add to basket, so you will get that in the cart, and that will add basically to the cart. So this is your project for this module. Yep.
So got to be completed in next 3 weeks.
Yes, next 3 weeks by by note module basically.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Looks like too much work.
Again, as you can see, that if you approach your HTML and CSS in the right way, you will build your views very quickly. And I would suggest, like, strongly recommend you to build view by view. Don't try to build everything and then jump in from one to another, because you will lose what you missed and you will have a lot of bugs.
Yeah. Page by page.
Yeah. View by view. So here again, we have 2 views, right? That means that by default, it looks like image, but when I hover, I have arrows. So this is like again, we have description. So main, hover.
I see. Okay.
So we try to leave, yeah, I probably need to update this, but this is collapsed. So this is the same view. Basically, you have 3 pages. In total, you have 3 pages. You just have different states for each page. So open, hover, open filters, and here you have hover as well. Yep. Here, yeah, I'll deploy all these requirements. So if you have any questions about requirements, feel free to ask. Because, yeah, it's not much actually. Some filters. So about the basket, use local storage. And that might be helpful to persist, because if I refresh the page, I want to see that I have that in the basket. Yeah. And I don't remember. Let me just check. Yeah, you have a products here, so you have all your products here, so you can just import it from this file. Yeah. Should be easy and fun. We tried to create nice designs because I found that many people just struggling with design, and this is fine. We just provide the design. You can build your own design if you want. It's not required, but you still need to match requirements about carousel, about filters, and the cart. But you can implement, if you find any other design, feel free to implement it or create your own. Yep. Okay, I think this is it. And do you have any questions?
Not right now, but I look forward to seeing you in Slack.
Cool. Yeah, this week, and I already told Daniel that I think that starting from this week, we already, all following weeks, we will have exercises based on like mini apps or mini projects, because you've learned the basics. Now you need to practice and see how you will use it in real world.
Cool.
So yeah, should be more fun. Okay, cool. Thank you. And yeah, so on Saturday, don't forget, we have this. We pushed back. Sorry for that, but we have this Just Talk at 8 p.m. It should be like 1 hour maximum, probably. It just a quick call. So yeah, feel free to join.
Cool, lovely. Okay, see you Saturday 8 o'clock then, everyone.
Yep. Thank you. See ya.
That's a goodbye. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's see you.